So how to become optimistic? Remember, 75% of us have to learn how to be optimistic. So I got a list here of things. So you can start to build optimism by visualizing, right? Visualizing or imagining your life in the manner it would make you happy. Imagining the life that you want, kind of like daydreaming. Ever since I was a little kid, I was a daydreamer. And I wonder if that's why I was optimistic and happy and hopeful as a kid, because I was a huge daydreamer. I dreamed about what I wanted in my life. And I as much as I loved Maine and my family, I wanted to leave Maine. I wanted to come to the West Coast. I wanted, I wanted things for myself that my cousins and the people around me maybe necessarily didn't want from themselves. They wanted something different. I knew I was different. And I'm wondering if the daydreaming had a lot to do with that. So visualizing and imagining your life the way you want it, the way it would make you happy, a future for yourself where everything turned out the way you wanted it, right? What a wonderful fantasy. That alone can change your mood and start building optimism, right? If you start imagining what you want and it came true, right? That alone can change your mood. Kind of, let me word it like this, because some people think like, oh, that's just stupid, sitting imagining a life, and how can that change my mood or change, my feelings? Or, well, you could, all of us sit and watch movies, right? You can watch a movie, and you can watch a movie that is so uplifting, so uplifting. Maybe it's a love story or, from, down and out to triumph. Like, you watch Rocky. Kat and I just watched the original Rocky like 2 weeks ago. I haven't watched it. I don't even know how long. Doesn't that movie just inspire you? But we watch movies that evoke feeling in us, so much feeling us that we will laugh out loud. We will cry, tears coming down our face and snot, and we got to go get tissue, right? A fake Hollywood movie can do that to us. Make us feel that much emotion, make us that happy or that sad if you're watching a sad movie. So we should be able to do that for our own selves. Play the movie of the life that you want in your mind and feel it. I think that's really, really important. I think it's super important. And then it's important to follow up that visualization, that imagining, with setting real goals and realistic goals that would actually make that future a reality. And of course, everything needs to be realistic. I think sometimes people talk, when they're talking about manifestation, they just think you just got to close your eyes and think of, a bag of money, and a bag of money just going to show up, or, just if you think hard enough about, a diamond ring is just going to show up around the corner somewhere. And it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's like it has to be like realistic, things that are within your reach and that you can actually make happen with your skill, with your knowledge, and with things that you're capable of doing. Okay. Notice the good things when they happen and acknowledge those good things. Right? I have people in my personal life, in my family, that you just don't see nothing good. You just don't see, they focus on all the shit. Pardon my French. But they do. They just don't see anything good. And it's almost like they don't want to see the good, right? So I think that's one thing I'm really good at is seeing the good and acknowledging the good. And it feels good to see the good. When something good happens that you're responsible for, like you've set a goal and you achieve the goal, When something good happens that you achieved, give yourself credit for that. Stop and pat yourself on the back and give yourself credit for that. Maybe take yourself out to dinner, maybe, something, treat yourself, something like that. It's important that we give ourselves credit. Remind yourself that setbacks, struggles, challenges, and negative emotions happen to everyone, every single one of us. They're temporary and they do pass. They do pass. That's the one constant: change. Unfortunately, it works the other way. When you're in a good role and everything's working in your favor, eventually, struggles, challenges are going to bestow upon us, because that's just the ebb and flow of life. So remind yourself they're temporary, they do pass. Remind yourself that a bad day doesn't necessarily mean you have a bad life. And I was in that spot, when I was really stuck in my dark place. I just felt my whole life was bad. I just couldn't separate a bad day from, because it was one bad day that went into the next bad day, to the next, to the next, to the next, for a few years. So, I was in that spot where I felt I had a bad life. Not anymore. When I have a bad day, I remind myself that life is good. Just because you're having a bad day, Taryn, this does not mean your life is bad. Your life is good. Your life is great. You're just having a bad day or a bad moment. Sometimes it could be a bad moment. Doesn't mean you're having a bad day. But that takes work. Like if you're out, and someone at the grocery store pisses you off and you get all, in a bad mood. Does that experience carry out through the rest of the day and ruin the whole day? Are we like in a bad mood the rest of the day? And is that whole day gone? That's just a bad day because of that one experience at the grocery store? I have to be careful of that. I have to be very careful of that, because if I'm not aware that bad experience that pissed me off or rubbed me the wrong way or changed my mood in the morning, I can keep that mood. I can keep that mood. So, and I don't want to keep that mood. So I have to be really aware and conscious that I'm in this rotten mood still at 2:00 in the afternoon when that experience with that person happened at 10 a.m. Right? So that can be hard to do, man. So that's why it's constant work, constant awareness, constant work on yourself. But you don't want to let someone like that rob you of a whole day, Easy one. Surround yourself with optimistic people. Surround yourself with optimistic people, or people that are working on being optimistic. They're aware, they're conscientious of it, and they're working on being optimistic, and they're mindful. Surround yourself with optimistic people. A lot of times, people that are not optimistic do not want to be around optimistic people, right? You've heard that old saying, misery loves company. And there is truth into that. If you're feeling down and you're pessimistic and you're downing on this and downing on that, I mean, you don't want to be around someone, happy, right? And it can almost piss you off. It's like, what are you so damn happy about? I got people in my personal life like that. I do. I have people in my personal life that I had to put boundaries because I'm so into working on my optimism and protecting my optimism and my mind, my mindset, that I've had to lay down really strong boundaries and tell some people in my family that, if we have plans and everybody's to come over to my house, if you are in a bad mood, cancel. If you wake up and you're in a rotten mood, cancel. Do not come to my home like that. Because I have people in my family, if they wake up in a bad mood, they have that mood all day long, and they still show up to the party, or the gathering, and they bring that rotten mood into my home. And I feel it. We all feel it. We see it. They don't even try to hide it. And I just can't have that around me anymore. That's how protective I've gotten of my optimism and my healthy mindset. Setting those strict boundaries. And it's hard to do when it's your family. It's hard to do when it's your close friends. It's hard to do when it's people you love. Because you almost feel like you're being a dick. Like it's almost feel like you're being mean and you're being an asshole. But you're not. I had to learn that. I had to really learn that and absorb that and come to believe that. It's not that I'm being a dick and that I'm being an asshole. It's self-love. It's that I love myself enough to protect myself from that. And that's the way I look at it now. But it's still hard. I'll admit that for sure. It's not easy. It's easy to set the boundaries. It's not easy keeping them sometimes. Sarah, I see you nodding back there. You're not on a mic, but I see you nodding. I know this rings true for you too. Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. I know. Yeah. Like deep? Yeah. Is it hitting you deep? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know it is. So then this is why I wanted to talk about this. We all go through stuff like this. Some of us are in the deep midst of it now and struggling with it and just can't get out of it, and then some people are in and out of it, and which is more normal. I don't think no one's like optimistic all the damn time, but I'm trying to get to a place where I'm optimistic and of a healthy mindset, positive mindset most of the time. And I've accomplished that, but I want that percentage to be even higher. I know I'm not going to reach 100%. That's unrealistic, but I want it to be an even higher percentage of the time, right? I think I'm maybe like 70-30 now. If I had to weigh, where are you, Willow? Optimism, not optimism. What's your ratio?
It really depends on the day.
Okay, let's overall.
Overall,
not the day. Just your life right now as you know it.
Well, 55-45.
55-45. Well, I'm older than you. So I've had longer time.
And you were born optimistic.
I was born optimistic.
I've only been optimistic for a couple years. It's still something I got to fight with.
Well, you just celebrated 2 years at Girlz Inc. So
I did.
Maybe we had something to do with it, Willow.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Olivia, it's not that she's always optimistic, but she just has like a vibe that
she has a softness,
yeah,
a kindness, a gentleness to her.
And she thinks things through very rationally before she gets emotional.
Yeah, and you and I are quick to temper.
Quick to emotion.
Maybe not always temper, but we're quick to emotion.
Very true.
You and I are a lot alike.
Yes.
I know. That's probably why you still work at Girlz Inc.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but I love it. And you and I work, head to head and close to close on projects. Sometimes I know you don't even like me sitting next to you. I can see it. I can see you squirming. But I don't care.
It's just closeness.
I know it's closeness. I know it is, and I ignore it. I respect it, but also, it's I don't know. I just think there's a genuine love and respect between us that, it is what it is. You're you, I'm me, and and I don't know, and we've just found our comfortableness together. Yeah. I mean, you and I have never had a bad moment, fight, nothing like that.
No.
And we're both emotional and our moods can change and shift throughout the day too. Yes. But you and I deal with chronic pain.
Yeah.
Me, migraines, and you have your things that you deal with. So we both deal with chronic pain, and I think that comes into play.
Definitely.
For you and I.
Definitely.
Right?
My pain is very much a factor when it comes to my mood.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want it to be, but it's
yeah. But it's hard living with chronic pain.
It is.
It's hard. We manage it, and you and I don't take pain pills. We're not managing it that way. we're, managing it with, we're just managing it the best way we know how. Okay. Practice positive self-talk. I do that. I practice positive self-talk. So I have a whole, it's about a 10-minute affirmation that I say. And I say it every day on my drive to work. And sometimes I'll say it, different times throughout the day. But I think practicing positive self-talk is really, really, really important. Having like this whole monologue that you say. And, maybe one of these days I'll just sit down and I'll go through mine. I'm not going to now because we're starting to run out a little bit of time, but I have a whole monologue. That's probably 7 to 10 minutes long. It's all positive self-talk. And it can really, Kat will remind me sometimes when she sees me slipping and I'm getting, I'm losing my optimism and, I'm not feeling really positive. She'll remind me, why don't you take a drive and go do your talk? She goes, it always, and if I'm like, I don't want to do it, she goes, it always changes your mood, Taryn. It always changes your mood. Why don't you go do it? And she's right. She's right. It always changes my mood. So, positive self-talk for me is a really valuable tool in maintaining my positivity, my optimism, or getting back to optimism. Very powerful for me. Put together an upbeat playlist with songs that make you feel good, uplifted, happy, want to sing, want to dance, want to rock and roll, make you feel like you're a badass. That is also a very valuable tool for me. I have a playlist and it's, it's probably an hour long and it's just all my songs that just can pull me out of, it's called the Disruptor playlist. That's what it's called on Spotify. And it can disrupt an unhealthy mindset and some of those negative thoughts and racing thoughts that I get. And it can get me back to optimism. Some of my songs are, I love Saturday Night Fever by the Bee Gees. I mean, that's the number one song on my playlist. That's like number one. And then it goes into One Republic, Counting Stars. And I just have this whole, and they're all upbeat. None of them are slow. None of them are sappy. None of them are about losing love, or they're all upbeat. Imagine Dragons. Yeah. They're all just upbeat, powerful, triumphant, great songs that really uplift me and can get me out of a bad mood. Turn off the news. That's a huge one. And I had to do that. So I like being educated in what's going on in the world. I like being educated in what's going on in America and in the economy. My dad raised me on the news. As a kid, I had to sit down and we had to watch the news. As little kids after dinner, my dad made us watch the news, right? Kind of. And because he wanted us kids educated and in the importance of world issues and whatnot. And I think that carried with me. So I watched the news, but I got to a point where I had to stop watching it because it's painful, it's scary, it just brought me down and whatnot. But I don't want to be uneducated. So so I do go on a little bit and but not like I used to, not nearly like I used to. So I mean, that can be a source of an unhealthy mindset and a feeling of hopelessness and sadness and fear. So if you have to turn off the news, turn off the news. I got some friends close to me. I got a family member, man, they should damn well turn off the damn news. I'll tell you, it's because it's ruining, it can ruin your life, the news. It can ruin your life. I watched it happen with someone close to me. Ruin them, change them. And now they're an angry person. They're angry. So be aware of that. Get active and do activities you enjoy, right? Roller skating, rollerblading, gardening. Last week, I told you girls, I'm taking 3 whole days off. I'm taking a long weekend And I'm not working. And I hadn't done that and I don't know how long. And I planted. I went to Star Nursery. I took Samson with me. We picked out plants and I planted and I dug holes in the ground. I almost broke my back. I had to go to Home Depot and I had to buy a pick because we have caliche out here and I kept hitting rock and I was getting frustrated. So I don't know if it was good for my mindset or I wasn't very optimistic about digging a hole. Let me tell you that. And then I go to, Home Depot, I buy a pick and I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm feeling a little optimistic. I'm going to get this hole dug. So I dug the hole. And day 3, I had more plants, to put in the ground and dig holes. But day 3, I wake up, I need an 800 Motrin, my back is killing me, and I call my man Juan, who's been my landscaper for 12 years, and I needed a little help on day 3 with a few of the holes. But but being in the backyard and aerating my grass, planting seed, being around my plants, trimming my bushes, I just love it. I turn on the music, I bring the fur babies out there, and I'm just in nature and I'm planting, and I absolutely love it. And I don't think about work or anything when I'm doing that stuff. So get active and do things that you enjoy. It's really, really important. Do something new. Right? Sometimes getting out of your comfort zone can create new excitement for life. And it really, really, really can. When I got kind of sad and depressed and kind of in a funk when COVID happened, I started quadding. Kat and I started quadding. Yeah, started quadding. Just out of the blue. Never quadded before in my life. And Kat, certainly not. I mean, good Lord. Kat didn't even know she wanted a quad. She just got really jealous because I bought a quad and I wouldn't let her drive. I'm like, no. Yeah, she thinks she's not going to buy a quad and then she's going to drive mine. And I'm like, no, you're not going to drive mine. You're going to sit on the back and you're going to be along for the ride. So then Kat ends up buying her own quad because she was jelly, because she wanted to drive. So now we have quads and we became, quadding badasses. And every year we do our annual 5-day trip through the Paiute Trails in Utah. And there's 10 of us girls and it's fantastic. And I never would have known that I liked quadding. I never would have had, that experience of seeing the Paiute Trails and nature that way. You only get to see these areas if you're on a quad. You cannot take a vehicle into these areas and you can't hike at them, hike up into them because they're so deep and vast. So you go in a quad. And so that was fantastic. So try something new. There's something you wanted to try. And then I guess lastly, I'm going to acknowledge that for some people, it may be impossible to become optimistic if you suffer from, mental illness like severe depression, anxiety, and getting treated, seeking professional help and getting treated is going to be really good for you. And that can calm your mind, help you, calm the anxiety, help you with depression. And once that's addressed and you're getting treated for that, then you can start working on your optimism. Because I think I don't think I know, there are, because it was me at one point, where you can't be optimistic because you need professional help. You need to go seek help because you're so depressed. And I think COVID did that to a lot of people. I think some people are still suffering from that. So, don't rule that out either. And there is no shame in seeking professional help or admitting you need professional help. Admitting that you have anxiety or depression and you just can't get out of your own way. You can't get to optimistic thought and application because you just can't because you're suffering and you need help. So I hope for those that do need help you find the courage to do that for yourself, you know? All right. That was my list of how to get back to optimism. And it's not easy. It's not something you do overnight. And I'm talking about practical optimism. These are all tools and things you can do to find your way back to optimism, to have a positive mindset, or increase your optimism, or increase your healthy mindset. Because when you are optimistic, when you're positive, when your mind is of a healthy mindset, then everything else in your life, including your business, becomes healthier and more successful. It just follows through. It starts with us. It starts right here. I know it starts with me. If I, Taryn, darling, can get to a healthier mindset, a more optimistic place, more positive thinking, then I know my company will. If the company leader can get there, then the company will get there. It starts with the company leader, the company owner, the business owner, and it follows through to the company. And so, yeah, so it's important. It's really, really important. What we're talking about today is really important, and I'm really passionate about it. I'm really passionate about it, and this is why I wanted to talk about it. And I tend to talk about things on here that I struggle with myself, that are personal to me, that I've gone through, that I'm still going through. Yeah, so, and I've been pretty honest and open about that, but very, 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 very passionate subject to me. Yeah. And I think it should be talked about more openly and more genuinely, more honestly, right? Because this shit ain't easy. Getting to an optimistic place and a healthy, a positive mindset, it's not easy. I think sometimes these cliche quotes, makes it feel like this is easy. This is not easy work. It's not easy work. It's not easy getting there, and then then it's not easy maintaining it and being consistent, right? And then when you do have days where you're feeling negative and scared and emotional, allowing yourself to feel that, and that's not failure. That's not failure. That's human, right? And just not allowing yourself to stay there too long. All right. You have anything else you want to say, Will?
I think you covered it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? You, Olivia?
Yeah. That was really good.